Thank you for your patient listening. I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Speak loudly.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Speak loudly.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your patient listening. I hope now I am audible to all of you, especially sir.
Sure, sure.
Thank you, sir. I must mention one announcement. That this program is also being telecast through YouTube. And if you want to go through YouTube via the university site and channels, you can also watch from there. Now, talking about the program, which is National Education Policy 2020, I must mention few things in brief, and later on will be discussed by our professors and scholars. The adult education and lifelong education will be run according to the policy, according to the National Education Policy 2020. So now, I call our director, respected Dr. Shrikant Patil sir, for presenting framework. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. We are discuss about the National Education Policy 2020. For that, only lifelong learning education, that is adult education and lifelong learning. We have one amendment in Maharashtra Public University Act 2016. The name is Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension. On that, particularly on that act, we have a collaborative activity doing in collaboration with the adult persons or retired person. It is one of the motto of our lifelong learning and extension in education policy, Maharashtra Public University Act policy. So we take this opportunity and organize a national seminar on this adult education and lifelong learning. In National Education Policy 2020, we search it that is one point is there, and that should be a briefly organize that point, that is adult education and lifelong learning. In National Education Policy, point number 10. Now, we have organized here national seminar of these types of national seminar. Very motivated person, just like Professor M. Jaykumar sir. He is a vast experience in this subject. And very second is Dr. Dilip Patil sir. He is a ex-director in Mumbai University, Lifelong Learning Extension Department. He doing a very large work, certificate courses, jointly organized in COVID-19 they are organized several types of programs in great personality. From that great personality, we can have to one WhatsApp group throughout India. Doctor, I very thankful to डॉक्टर साहब कि जिन्होंने ये पूरे इंडिया को एक साथ जुड़वाया, नहीं तो मेरी पहचान जय कुमार सर से नहीं होती थी। इसलिए मैं रियली थैंकफुल टू डॉक्टर जय प्रकाश दुबे सर, फॉर्मर डीन सोशल साइंसेस दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी। उन्होंने एक ग्रुप बनाया और ये पूरे इंडिया के जितने भी डायरेक्टर्स है लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग के, एडल्ट एजुकेशन के, इनको सबको एक व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बना के पहचान दिलवाई। नहीं तो मैं जय कुमार सर को नहीं पहचानता था या उनसे मुलाकात नहीं होती थी। और ये कोरोना के जो 2 साल हमारे गए, ये 2 साल में तो कोई किसको पहचानता नहीं था, तो इसमें सर ने सबको एकजुट करके रखा। तो दैट्स क्रेडिट गोज टू डॉक्टर जय प्रकाश दुबे सर। I am thankful to you, sir. He is also that resource person. Today's third session. So I welcome to first Jay Kumar sir, who is accept our invitation to keynote address for this national seminar. And this national seminar is depend upon the only that is our inspiration, our university name that is Sant Gadge Baba. Now, the Sant Gadge Baba have a great personality to जैसे भी मोदी जी स्वच्छता अभियान चला रहे, तो 50-60 साल पहले से उन्होंने ये अभियान चलाया था, स्वच्छता अभियान, और उसमें they serve the 10 comments, that is food to hungry, water to thirsty, clothes to naked, education to poor children, shelter to homeless, medicine to blind, handicapped and dispersed persons, employed to unemployment, protection to dumb animals, marriage of young poor boys and girls, and coverage to distraught and the frustrated persons. So these 10 comments, our university, हम जो बोलते हैं कि हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी 10 कमेंट्स पे चल रही है अभी, और एक एक कमेंट्स हम कैसे इसको फॉलो करके अभी ये सब कर रहे हैं। तो आई रियली a great personality with Sant Gadge Baba. And second thing is this adult education. Also, Sant Gadge Baba ने महाराष्ट्र में 55 धर्मशाला बनाया, 55 सर इन डिफरेंट एरियाज। एंड ये एरिया में जो भी पढ़ने के लिए जाते थे, तो गाडगे बाबा उन बच्चों को फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट वहां रख के स्वच्छता अभियान का पाठ पढ़ा के उनको पढ़ाते थे। उनकी खुद की लड़की जो है गाडगे बाबा के धर्मशाला में 2 दिन रुकी थी, तो उसके भी पैसे गाडगे बाबा ने चार्ज करने के लिए बोले थे। और जब उनका कीर्तन चालू था, उनका एक बहुत बड़ा, जो मराठी में तो कीर्तन बोलते हैं, जो सभी लोगों के सामने होता है, तो उनका कीर्तन शुरू था मुंबई में, और मुंबई में कीर्तन शुरू रहते टाइम उनका बेटा गुजर गया। तो उन्होंने ये कहा कि ये सब लोग मरते हैं, वो देख के मैं बहुत मैंने गलत ऐसा महसूस करता हूँ, तो मेरा बेटा मर गया तो उसके लिए क्या रोना, ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग मरते हैं। तो दैट इज अ ग्रेट संत। और on that respectful Sant Gadge Baba, we have university, Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University. So on this national seminar, we have to take some ideas. Those person, that is Professor Jay Kumar sir, from Jay Kumar sir, from Bhartiyar University, Coimbatore, then Dr. Dilip Patil sir from Mumbai University, and Jay Prakash Dubey sir from Delhi University. So such a great person. We have some take idea how to follow this national education policy in adult education and lifelong learning. So this national seminar motto is, your idea comes to all this generation, and we have to take up points and programs to deliver that programs in the society. That is the motto of this national seminar. So I will very thankful to Jay Kumar sir, Professor J.B. Dubey sir, and Dr. Patil sir. From these few words, I will conclude this preambles. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shrikant Patil sir. As I can say that Dr. Shrikant Patil sir is known as a director here, and you might know him as a director, but he is not only a director but also a friend here in the department, as well as he has been serving here his duty under the directorship of the department, but also he has been serving the society for a long time, and he is known throughout the region, throughout the Vidarbha. So thank you very much, Dr. Shrikant Patil sir, for giving your valuable words. Now, I must ask Dr. Jay Kumar sir and really apologize for waiting you for a long time. Now we have been waiting to listen your words. So, Professor M. Jay Kumar sir, Professor,
you can start the PPT now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You can start the PPT now.
Okay, sir. We are going to start the PPT.
Yeah. You can start the PPT now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You can start the PPT now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
We are going to start the PPT.
Yeah. Can I start now?
Yes, start.
Yeah. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Patil and his team and senior professors like Dubey and my other colleagues for having invited me for this program. My topic is more on. You can start the PPT now. Yeah.
Okay,
Adoption of technology.
You can start
the PPT now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
We are going to start the PPT.
Yeah. Can I start now? Yeah.
Yes.
I am right now covering the PPT. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Patil and his team and senior professors like Dubey and my other colleagues for having invited me for this program. My topic is more on. You can start the PPT now. Yeah. Adoption of technology. You can start the PPT now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
We are going to start the PPT.
Yeah. Can I start now? Yeah.
Yes.
Adoption of technology covering the PPT. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Patil and his team and senior professors like Dubey and my other colleagues for having invited me for this program. Can I start now? Are you ready now? Dr. Patil, are you able to hear me?
I think there is some issue. I think he could not see your PPTs. That is why he was always trying to communicate stuff.
Okay. Please go to the next slide. Try next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. Can I start now, Professor Dubey? Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Friends, the current condition of most of the lifelong learning departments, many of us, we have e-learning labs. In fact, I still remember when I was in the UGC standing committee as an expert, we gave separate funds around 6 lakhs rupees for each university. About 20-25 universities got that. Subsequently, also some of them got that. Making use of that basic money, many of you have started degree, diploma course related to computer science, web designing. Of course, you also had your MA program. Traditional mindset of offering PG degrees were also there, but the reach is very, very small. We were not able to cover large volume of students, large volume of adults. And of course, the money we gave is not very adequate. Now the condition is slightly different. The contents need to be very, very useful for the current digital world and for the marginalized. The technology now is very sophisticated, and we have to cover marginal and those who are in need of a job. Unfortunately, our current system, we have inadequate and underqualified training staff, not aligned with the National Skills Qualification Framework. When we say that we are following the new adult education in the NEEP, National Education Program policy, naturally we have to necessarily follow the National Skills Framework. In fact, I was involved in the skill framework, both 4 sector skills, especially Electronic Sector Skill Council. The other one is very, very important. You have to necessarily collaborate with sector skill councils, which is very, very essential, especially for skill development programs. So the current need is realigning and repositioning of the LLL department, lifelong learning departments, keeping local needs in mind by adopting appropriate technology so as to reach large volume of learners. And we should also be sustainable, which is also very, very important. We have to generate some resource so that you are able to sustainable on long-term basis. Next slide, please. Next slide. Friends, the most important thing, you are claiming that you are a lifelong learner. I am asking you, are you a learner? The most important challenge is whether the lifelong learning department is a learning enterprise, which is very, very important thing. Especially adult learning is reflective based on your personal experience. Again, it is team-based. It should lead to certain action, economic activity. Learning is contextual. Learning sometimes incidental and accidental. But mindful learning is very, very important thing, and it is going to be for long term, for a longer period. Then only you are able to do some action. Learning through interdisciplinary approach. Learning is effective through games and simulations. We don't have materials like that. And learning is primarily for quick adaptability to both social and economic conditions. Learning is for survival. Learning is not simply acquiring certain technical skills. It should be supplemented. It should be strongly connected with social and collaboration skills, which is very, very essential. Of course, the current technology, anywhere, any content, any level, and in any language is possible. Learner motivation is the primary source. We are not just considering only teaching basic ABCD, basic literacy or numeracy. We have to go one step further. Next slide, please. Please, time is quick. Yeah. So the technology adaptation for what? Technology adaptation of lifelong learning is primarily to reach large volume of learners, offering programs at multiple times to suit the learners. For example, the same program can be offered in the morning or in the evening and in the late evening. The cost effectiveness is very essential if you adopt appropriate technology. Of course, there will be initial cost. Inducting or accepting multiple learning styles. And the most important thing is accepting one's own speed of learning. You don't really create new content. You don't create new knowledge. Knowledge curation. It means knowledge is readily available elsewhere. You try to understand, use it appropriately for your own condition. Then creating new knowledge. Don't reinvent wheels. Creation of common good is very, very essential. If in a Hindi-speaking belt, more than 60–70% of the adult education departments are in the Hindi-speaking belt, naturally the contents can be shared equally. one person, one department can create one content on legal literacy, other person can sustainable, the third one can create content in women's issues, gender issues. So quality challenges are addressed. So why we have to adopt technology? We have to really adopt technology to reach large volume. Friends, as teacher, as faculty, as adult learner, you and me, Professor Dubey is an adult learner, Jayakumar is an adult learner, Patil is adult learner. You are identified based on your subject knowledge, your proficiency, your competence, advanced levels of expertise in one's own field. You have to discover all forms through your research. You have to propagate, disseminate, propagating your own research findings so that we gain mutually. You have to translate. The most important thing is knowledge is created. That knowledge is to be converted into knowledge products. So translation, the knowledge into products, it can be a content, it can be a testing tool, or it can be an assessment tool, or it can be a comic film, anything for that matter. Your knowledge should be converted into a product, teaching learning product or assessment tool, useful for everyone. So you are known to learners primarily for this. Next slide, please. Friends, the most important thing is adult education or the lifelong learning should really go with family, with the learner, with family, with industry, with society, with the economy. The current industry, now we call Industry 4.0, IIoT is called Industrial Internet of Things. The name is currently given to automation and data exchange. Data exchange is very, very important thing. Please hang on 1 second. David, I count on for I think. Change வச்சிருக்கீங்களா? இல்ல 8 ரூபாய். எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? சரி. Friends, Industry 4.0 is the name given to the current trend of automation, data exchange in manufacturing technologies. I will also try to give you why I am focusing on industry. Ultimately, our learners, our adult learners should be gainfully employed in an economic context. That is why I have taken one particular aspect of society, Industry 4.0. It includes integrating cyber and physical systems, the Internet of Things, cloud computing, and cognitive computing. It is otherwise called as Fourth Industrial Revolution. We are going to live in smart factories, smart cities. Within a modular structured smart factories, cyber physical system monitors the physical process, create a virtual copy of the physical world, and make decentralized decisions. You may ask me whether we can create a academic program or a diploma program in IIoT. Yes, it's definitely possible with our competence. Over the Internet of Things, cyber physical systems communicate and cooperate with each other, with humans in real time, both internally and across organizational services offered and used by the participants of the value chain. I ask the participants to wait for a few more minutes to explain. Friends, the other important thing, especially whether you are collaborating with physics department or electronics department, or even small industries, small electronic industries, sensors is going to rule the entire country, the entire world. It is a device that converts signals from one energy domain to another electrical domain. Friends, yesterday I received a call from Bangalore, and they are asking whether the adult education department can train drone pilot. Now they want to have drone pilot. Don't think that drone pilot is like an aeroplane pilot. Drone pilot, even an 8th standard student can be a drone pilot. Only thing is there are some 16, 17 common operations. A 8th standard failed boy or 8th standard passed boy or a girl can do that. So thousands and thousands of drones they are producing, and it is going to be used. And any technology, you have three levels of jobs. One is the elementary level job. Next one is the intermediate level job. Third one is the advanced level job. The elementary level job is called user related job. It means very basic functions. If you know how to operate a particular device, here in this case, drone, you will have job opportunities. So the adult education or our lifelong learning department should think differently. And it is definitely easy, and all our students will definitely be employed if you think of some relatively modern technology. I have said about what is sensors. Sensors is an input device which provides an output signal with respect to physical quantity. Wherever you see in newspapers, at least in southern India, I am confident, I am comfortable with, I am familiar with. Every week, whenever they clean the septic tank, normally when human excreta is collected in a septic tank, poisonous gas is produced. The scavengers, without knowing that, they go deep into that and they die instantly. But if there is a sensor, it will predict that there is a poisonous gas, and we can save hundreds of scavengers. This is possible if you use sensor technology. The device is available right now, available in Bangalore and Chennai. There are varieties of sensors. One is called a passive sensor, which do not require any external power signal, directly generates an output. The other type is based on the electric signal, biological related signal, chemical related signal, and radioactive related. The next classification is based on the conversion phenomena. For example, you can find photoelectric means sound related. Photo means sound, light. Photo means light. And thermo means heat. Thermoelectric and electrochemical signal and electromagnetic signal, thermo-optic. Thermo means heat or temperature. So first important thing is, as adult learners or adult education department, lifelong learning, identify a current technology which is the lowest level of application, collaborate with other departments and create a new manpower, train the manpower. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, these are all the different kinds of sensors: color sensor, alcohol sensor, smoke detecting sensor, light sensor, humidity sensor. Friends, to create this kind of device is not a very complicated technology. Please take it from me. With 1 week training, Professor Dubey in Delhi can create all these sensors. Only thing is we need to have a model. Don't think that it's possible only in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. It's possible even at our own level, at our own, when you collaborate with some electronics department, and if you understand the basics. Send your teachers to some certain mid-level factories, orient your teachers. Friends, identify whichever area you are confident with, then you can draw that. Professor Patil, please, next slide, please. Say the most important thing is you recall Plato's very great saying, never discourage anyone who makes even a little progress, no matter how slow. Please understand, you cannot find or you cannot have miraculous success in our efforts especially. Don't bother about the numbers. Next slide, please. For example, what kind of changes we can make in the department? One is we have to be a change agent. There are 3 levels. One is iteration, doing the same things better, quality-wise. Innovation, doing new things, designing new programs, designing new PG diploma programs. Disruption, doing new things that make old ones obsolete. For example, assessment. Prior learning approval is an important criteria. So don't worry too much about the formal assessment of our degree and diploma programs. Think of some extraordinary new things so that our current assessment tools are gone. Create new assessment tools, especially AICTC also promotes stealth assessment. Without disturbing the adult learners, you try to understand their competence. Each one of you, each department of LLL have to have introspection. Adult learning is introspection. Adult learning is self-reflection. For example, on-demand education, on-demand assessment, nano degree, badges, these are all new demands. Create e-content and offer to large volume of students can be one kind of a job, one kind of a task you can take it up. You have to examine yourselves on a particular framework. Friends, I always talk about three relevant concepts or culture. One is culture of relevance. We are going to be a lifelong learner. We are going to be self-learner. As adult education departments, am I relevant? For example, this particular seminar, in this seminar, am I a relevant resource person? Whatever I speak, is it relevant to my friend sitting in Delhi or sitting in Calcutta, which is very, very important thing. Asking frequent questions about relevance is very important. Promote self-learning and support lifelong learning. All the three principles, relevance, self-promote, motivations of self-learning and support of life learning will be the three fundamental concepts and philosophy you have to work. Next slide, please. Solitary trees. Please understand, friends, I am there in the field for the last 40 years. We are always solitary trees. We grow. If we grow at all, we will grow very, very strong. I know the current 80 plus adult education departments, lifelong learning departments, they have grown very strong. Please don't worry too much about your future. Future is only in your hands. We are all solitary trees. Whether it is in Bombay or Calcutta or Delhi, please understand gaining the academic status is also a greater challenge for us. Next slide, please. Technology requirements. First thing, the content creation technology tools, normally called authoring tools. Please, I am not frightening you. This is very, very basic thing. If you work for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, you can definitely gain confidence in this. Content hosting, for example, Moodle, completely freely available, free of cost. You can create the, please understand, I am not a computer science person, but I can create a content by using Moodle. The coding is also available. You can manipulate to suit your convenience. The other Indian version is Brihaspati, IIIT, Kanpur. This Dr. Singh has created. In fact, I have invited to my department. He was there for more than a week and trained our teachers. Query management, asking questions and giving answers are called query management tools, freely available. Students assessment and certification support system tools are available. Collaborative contents tools and unique search engine approach. This is also not a great technology. Don't get afraid of the new terms. Then you create content and call it as a repository, collect every bit of information, create academic contents, put it in appropriate language and storage that should be stored, that kind of facility. So we need to have at least 7 or 8 areas and for which we need to have a current technology tool which are freely available. Next slide, please. Friends, I have given some examples related to that, which is freely. Some of them are freely available. Some of them may not be very, very expensive. For example, Adobe Captivate is a very, very common tool, learning content creation tool. Articulate Rise 360. And some of them are freely available. They're all ready-made versions are available for 1 month. You can trial version, you can try that. Then if it is found suitable, useful for you, you can go for paying the cost. The initial cost, probably we can argue with the UGC and other funding agencies so that they buy these kind of tools for you and we can collectively use these tools. Next slide, please. For learning contents. Next slide, please. Authoring tools, I have already said, the faculty, previous slide, please, allows you to personalize your content, adopt a people-centered approach to e-learning, enables you to collaborate with your team effectively, and SMEs, subject matter expert is called SME, and stakeholders to work together seamlessly. It means you can ask a content writer sitting in Bombay or Calcutta or in Delhi, and a piecemeal approach you can adopt. They can create the content and they can share with you. That is possible. And allows you to continue to improve your e-learning by analyzing the data and collating feedback. Enables you to adopt new demands and produce supporting e-learning content quickly. There is certain standards, technology standards, you kindly follow that. If you are going to create new content, authoring tools definitely will be more useful. Next slide, please. So, for example, you can have open-ended essay questions. You can drag and adopt activities. These are all meant for assessment of our students. Online interviews, dialogue simulations, online polls, peer review, evaluation, game type activities, forum post. Many multiple, that is why I said, learning is very, very important thing, but unlearning is also equally important thing. Certain things, whatever we have practiced over a period of 30 years, we have to forget and go for new kind of learning. Our faculty, our directors, they should really have an open mind to understand, to adopt new kind of assessment tools based on the appropriateness of the e-learning. Next slide, please. Friends, moving from teaching paradigm to learning paradigm. This is also very, very important. Don't think that we have to teach everything on our own. We have to create a kind of a culture within the campus, even among the our learners, school dropouts and others. They should learn individually or as a team. That kind of culture we have to create. Next slide, please. For example, in the beginning, I said we have to move towards digitalization or digital world. For example, using one or two digital tools is one thing, and doing or appropriately using the tool is a second stage. You become the culture of digitalization. The third one, you are literally doing whatever activity you do. You don't really use paper and pencil. The most important thing is now you need to have technology, data process, and organization change. So to be a good adult education department, lifelong learning department, in the current condition, by adopting the new education policy 2020, there are three major changes you have to do, 3 or 4 major changes. One is adopting the appropriate technology. Second thing is what kind of data you are going to generate, and what kind of teaching learning process you are going to adopt, and what kind of organizational change you are going to accept. For example, you may not need a permanent faculty to teach online courses. You can hire somebody as long as that particular course is available. Then afterwards, you can use some other person. So the flexibility in taking teachers, in taking content creators, in taking assessment experts, you have to think in a different fashion. That is also very, very important thing. Reorganization of the department, reorganization of manpower, adopting new technology, adopting new kind of data collection and processing the data, realignment and repositioning is very, very important thing. Next slide, please. Being digital, what I mean, I have incorporated digital storefronts, creating new websites, web learning portals. In fact, about 12 years ago, I have created a learning portal about 10 years ago. And more than 20,000 students we are able to coach through online. It is called Careerversity, like a university, careerversity.com. We are able to really do that by using the UGC grant. These kind of things are definitely possible. Of course, we had struggled that point of time. Now the technology is freely available. DRAP, and you can do it on your own. Now technology is available. Doing digital is the second stage. Becoming digital is the third stage. Being digital, the human experience is elevated, human-centered design and advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, cyber and cloud. You need not purchase. I still remember I purchased my server at the cost of 1.2 lakhs. But within 2-3 years, it becomes probably it was not sufficient for me. So now there is no need to spend on huge machines. You can use cloud service so that you pay only for the service, the amount of service you are using. That is also possible now. Next slide, please. Next slide. Understanding the digital transformation, the process of using digital technologies to create or modify existing business, education service, processes, culture, and customer students' experience to meet changing education, business, and market requirements. It is about technology, data, process, and organizations change. All the 4 areas, the current lifelong learning department should have changes. And being digital and learning contents, which are all the areas you can do being digital. For example, creation of learning content, validation of the content, delivery technology, assessment and accreditation in all the 4 areas. For example, if Professor J.P. Dubey is very strong in content creation in Hindi or in Marathi or in Gujarati, the Gujarat universities need not do the same thing. We will leave the responsibility to Professor Dubey. If the Pankaj Kumar Nag is strong in one particular area, say legal literacy, let us not repeat the same thing. So let Dr. Pankaj Kumar Nag can create the content and share with everyone. This is what we mean by common good. You have to really do all those things now. That kind of a, for example, all the adult education departments, they sit together and take up the responsibility for the next 5 years so that mutually we can share the technology, we can share the content, we can share the assessment tools. Converting from one language to another language is not that difficult. Please understand that. Next slide, please. For example, the most important thing is we are working in the university system. We are not like a SRC. We are not like an NGO. The university culture, university ecosystem is very, very important thing. For example, India is consciously moved towards a differentiated academic system with 3-tiered structure, highly selective elite research universities at the top. For example, JNU, Delhi University, Mumbai University, or University of Madras, Bharatiyar University, where I am working. They focus that the importance, the vice chancellor's important is only research. Publications, citation index, NIR of ranking, or NAC A double plus 3.7 out of 4, all those things. You are working in that particular context. The other important area is comprehensive universities. Yes, research is given in university, but they accept arts, science, humanities, commerce. The third one is broad-based colleges to cater large volume of students at the undergraduate level. For example, lifelong learning departments in each system to focus differently. The challenge is you have to be an influencing person. I used to say, what is teaching? Teaching is not transacting the academic content. Teaching is an act of inspiration. Teaching is an act of influencing. Influencing means influencing towards self-learning and lifelong learning. Similarly, you have to influence your vice chancellor, your syndicate, your board of governance to take up extension as university. You have to take up that. Challenge is to make every system, the adult learner, adult education department, lifelong learning department, should take up extension as a kind of an important component and understand your university. So influencing the policy makers at the national level, at the Nidhi Aayog level is also one of the primary functions. I still remember, I used to be there in the National Planning Commission, earlier version. Literally, I used to fight with them so that they allot more money for adult education, more money for Directorate of Adult Education. I used to be there in a small subcommittee. So some of you can really play that particular role, which is also a very, very important thing. Please understand you have to be also, you need to have a good contact with the policy makers. That is also one of the functions of the lifelong learning departments. Next slide, please. You are not working in isolation. Friends, the content is very important thing, but how you are connecting the learner with the technology across an integrated digital education system, an integrated student learning lifelong life cycle, and integrated technology solutions. These are all the philosophies in which you work. For example, one can work on the technology solution, the other can work on the psychology of the students and create new kinds of a gaming, new kinds of a storytelling. You have to be good in those areas. And we have to create a digital education system even for adult learners. Please don't think of our primers, don't think of our adult education centers, don't think of the traditional adult education centers. We have to move forward and adopt technology. I am not for technology in a simple sense. I am selling the technology to cover large volume of learners. The technology is essential to minimize the cost. The technology is essential to maintain the high quality of our content. The technology is to make our learners to become gainfully employed. That is why I am insisting that we have to go for digital technology. Next slide, please. Yeah, for example, what kind of learners we have to take? The 1919-20 periodic labor force survey reveals that 96.9% of the persons in India above 15 years and above have no technical education. The sad affair still in India. So youth with vocational technology training is just 4.1%. So for example, what is the statement? Two statements give you. For example, you can take up vocational education for youth because wherever you are there, the youth, whether in advanced cities like Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, or Chennai, still many of them are not formally trained in any older skill or new skill. Hardly 4% are trained. Working age population concentrated, if at all there is a training currently taking place only in IT-enabled service, your call centers, followed by textiles, handloom, few in electrical areas, few in very, very electrical segments, very small electrical segments. For example, still even in a pandemic condition, the saddest part of it, millions of our workers from south to north, north to south, they went and suffered. Highest migration takes place in India in the age group of 20 to 44, mostly males, because there is no job, there is no work in northeastern belt, in certain parts of North India, certain part of Western India, certain part of South India, certain part of East India. They are migrating again. The age group is 20 to 24. They suffer so much. And the other important thing is even within Maharashtra, within Tamil Nadu, 8 out of 10 households reported internal migration. For example, if you take Tamil Nadu, southern part of Tamil Nadu, lakhs of workers are moving towards western part or moving towards eastern part of Tamil Nadu. So all those national issues you can address, it's possible. For example, training youth in construction is most labor-intensive job for less skilled surplus agricultural labor. For example, agriculture is a seasonal work. Lot of workers are there, surplus labor. So for example, if you are going to attack or if you are going to address one particular society as your learner, you can take youth and for example, one perennial or one important sector, if you are able to really train our school dropouts, our illiterate learners in the construction industry, the modern construction industry. I am not talking about a very sophisticated skill. I am talking about the lowest skill. There will be a greater demand. Labor-intensive services such as healthcare, education, hospitality, augment job creation. Please I am one who, for the the lifelong learning department should do justice for the community, for the country, by providing good quality education, quality training in certain sectors of employment, especially for marginalized. If it is so, think of your own local condition, appropriately select a particular vocational skill. Don't just copy everything. So I am giving a national condition now. There are certain sectors, for example, labor incentive, it means hundreds of persons, thousands of persons can be easily employed. If you take up the healthcare, for example, taking care of the elders, middle-level jobs, middle-level, entry-level jobs in hospitals, there are opportunities you can take it up. For example, midwife, it's a very, very traditional job. Thousands of jobs are available. Education service, by providing coaching, learning, or English teaching, all those things are possible. Hospitality, catering, these are all the, I am not suggesting BSc program. I am suggesting only 6 months training in one particular subsect of a particular sector. The lifelong learning department can focus on this. Next slide, please. Yeah, education is not the learning of the fact, but the training of the mind to think. We should really adopt this particular principle from the Albert Einstein. Next slide, please. For example, the new education policy talks about on 4 framework. One is critical life skills. When I say critical life skills, critical life skill is questioning behavior. Basically, it's a questioning behavior. Critical life skill is basically thinking behavior logically. Questioning behavior is challenging what is currently available. For example, if you ask me to teach, what is the reason for poverty in India? I am teaching a group of adults, employed, unemployed, or semi-literate adult. I am giving them critical thinking skill or critical thinking life skills. I will ask this question: what is the reason for poverty? Many of them say they will talk about fate, they will talk about karma, they talk about lack of skills, they talk about illiteracy, they talk about poor health, they talk about caste. The reality in India is lack of distributive justice. We create wealth for everyone in the country, but not for their greed, but for their need. We are able to do that, which is very, very important thing. And the other important thing is we have to give them the right kind of a solution, make them to think for the right kind of a solution. So critical thinking skill or critical life skill is primarily asking right questions, challenging the current social economic conditions, and move towards a positive change. Is called, this is a way you can, for example, if you allow me, I can create a new content, e-content for critical life skills for the entire learning groups, so that you can translate from one language to another language. Digital literacy, financial literacy, healthcare awareness, and family welfare. In the particular context, we can create vocational skills and development. This is what I mean by many departments can take this particular skill. The second important area is sharing of infrastructure. Still, I am not very clear about this particular policy statement given in the government document. Who are going to share the resources with us? What extent we are able to use the schools? Schools are under the control of the state government or panchayat. And also other community and volunteer activities. We have to find out. Unless we are very strong in the basic level of coordination, we cannot do this. Of course, there are certain administrative buildings, government buildings, we can make use of them. Sharing infrastructure. We can, for example, the current guideline of the National Education Policy 2020 is very sketchy in nature. We have to go for the next document. It is called a POA, Program of Action. Earlier guidelines used to have that. So my only appeal to Patil and professors like Dubey is kindly create a document called Program of Action. Probably I may complete with another 5 minutes. I will complete with another 5 minutes. Next slide, please. Okay, I will complete that. No problem, no problem. Next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. Learning gives creativity. This is again important thing you have to think in our own department level. Creativity, in a sense, solving problems and go for serious thinking and go for knowledge creation and share the knowledge and create knowledge product. Next slide, please. Next slide. Volunteers, qualified community members, they talk about mobilizing is one thing. Are you going to accept this? Even this kind of a document, this kind of a statement is very sketchy in nature. Think of a detailed program of action at every center, at every university. It's very, very important thing. Next slide, please. This is also a very important area they talk about, but we have to create more about e-books, which should be freely available to everyone in almost all the regional languages and national language. Next slide, please. Technology leverage, this is what I have discussed at length, and you can read on your own. Next slide, please. Your proficiency, discovery, dissemination, translation is very important. I have already discussed this. Thank you. Next slide, please. Select labor-intensive sector of employment, review current skill requirements, understand the scope for automation, including technology upgradation, be sensitive about gender inclusiveness, illustrate various functional roles, work with employers and industries for acceptance, certification, accreditation, probably even at the national level is possible. This is a national policy we can think of at the department level. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Say the most important thing is the measure of intelligence. We are going to have an intelligent world. How quickly you are going to adapt, realign, reposition is very, very important things. I am almost done. Next slide, please. Thank you. My email ID is here. In case if you have any doubts or if you want to interact with me, you can interact with me through mail. But please wait for 24 hours to get to receive reply from me. Thank you, Patil. Thank you for the nice opportunity you gave me. And I'm very open for discussion. And any questions if you have, you can raise your questions. I am done. Thank you. Thank you, Patil.
Thank you, sir.
Somebody has raised the other question. Mayuri. Madam Mayuri. Madam Mayuri, you have any questions? You have raised your hand. Professor Patil, namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar, sir. Thank you, sir.
मेरा भी नमस्कार, दिलीप पाटिल जी.
After many years, I am seeing him.
Yes.
Madam Mayuri Athavli, you may unmute yourself.
Unmute your mic and speak.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. My name is Mayuri Athavle. I would like to quote
Where are
my
you
question.
from, madam? Where are you from?
I'm from Amravati, Sant
Go ahead, madam.
University. Sir, I would like to quote my question in Hindi, as many of us cannot understand properly.
Maybe Dubey can help us, or Dubey can help us to translate. I don't completely understand Hindi. I'm sorry. I'm poor in Hindi. Yeah, we speak in Hindi. No problem, madam.
Okay. जैसे ये पॉलिसी अडल्ट्स के लिए है लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग का, तो आपने मोर एम्फसाइज जो लोग अभी सर्विस लेके रिटायर हुए हैं उन पे किया है. ये जो सिलेबस है या फिर ये जो एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम है उन पे फोकस कर रहा है जिनको कुछ एक्सपीरियंस है. बट सर मैं अबाउ 18 हूँ, जो कि मैं अडल्ट कैटेगरी में आती हूँ, पर मुझे एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं है मेरे लिए। और किसी कारण मैं रेगुलर जो प्रोग्राम्स रहते हैं, एजुकेशनल प्रोग्राम्स, जैसे मेरा ग्रेजुएशन के बाद में जो मास्टर्स करने वाली थी मेरे ग्रेजुएशन के हिसाब से, वो मैं नहीं कर पा रही। और अगर मुझे कुछ एम्प्लॉयमेंट चाहिए तो एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन भी नहीं हो रहा है। तो इस वजह से जब मैं
Please don't give your opinion. Ask the question, please.
यस सर, यस सर।
Please brief.
ओके। तो आपने जो यूथ है उनके लिए कुछ नहीं कहा है, और मोर इम्फोसाइज आपका जो
Madam,
एल्डरली पीपल है।
thank you, madam. Please, Dubai, just translate me so that I may try to answer.
I think Mayuri has not been able to get it exactly. Mayuri, in fact, Mayuri wants to know that whatever you have communicated, it is all about the people, those who are either retired or well versed with the technology and they need to be brought into the workforce. She was asking more about how should people, those who are not in employment, should be helped by this adult education department. Her emphasis was wrongly based on something which you didn't say. In fact, you can respond to it. She wanted to know what is there for those people, those who are not into it, but they need jobs, and how this adult education department can be of some help.
Yeah, I understood her spirit. And probably certain amount of anxiety also, concern, genuine concern. Madam, my simple answer, I don't know whether I will satisfy you. Please understand the technology outside, the job market outside, and train the illiterate or semi-literate or dropout, school dropout, to the lowest level skill of that particular sector, so that they will definitely have employment. Whether it is textiles, whether it is education, whether it is assessment, whether it is hospitality. For example, if you ask me, I will tell you, if you trained a semi-literate or illiterate person, even in simple South Indian dish making or North Indian dish making, varieties of food, how to make those food. Now they have opportunities. Wherever you go, you can find that opportunity. They can become a kind of an entrepreneur also at a later point of time. Only thing is, find out which particular sector where labor intensive activity takes place. You can learn very basic skill within 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 3 months, then train them and probably quality training give them, then they will find employment on their own. Madam, whether I partially answered your question?
Yeah, I think Mayuri, आप कुछ कहना चाहते हो? You want to say something? You want to again respond to it?
No, sir. I got my answer.
Yeah. Basically, ये मसला थोड़ा और आगे का है. What Professor Jayakumar has told us, it was not about only Mayuri, it was all about 189 people. ये सारे 89 लोगों के लिए it was a great learning. हमें बहुत कुछ मिला है. दरअसल we want to कहते हैं ना, reorientation, repositioning करनी है हमने अपने आप को. This is all about increasing your canvas. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो हुए, हम शायद एक मैसेज लेके जाएंगे and we'll be working on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Dubey.
Thank you, Patil.
I am done. I have completed.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your answer. And thank you very much for providing such a remarkable content.
Speak loudly. Speak loudly.
I want to ask question.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope I am audible to you. Thank you very much for providing a remarkable content.
No.
The content.
It's not the matter.
श्रीकांत सर, मुझे लगता है कि the talk of Professor Jayakumar has invited a lot of reaction, or it would be much better to have some more reactions. मुझे लगता है कि there are people those who are willing to talk on these issues. I'm very happy the way it has come out. ना, let everybody comes out. अगर कुछ कहना है किसी को तो आप थोड़ा सा चेंज कर सकते हो.
बिल्कुल
करिए सर.
पढ़कर मैं बताना चाहता हूँ. National Education Policy 2020. In that National Education Policy, we are.
Sir, Professor Patil, speak loudly. Professor Patil, speak loudly. I'm not able to hear you, Professor.
Sir, we are taking a seminar on adult education and lifelong learning. So,
we are not able to hear you. Speak loudly. Speak loudly.
थोड़ा माइक पास में लीजिए.
अभी आ रहा है सर आवाज? या आ रहा है?
या गुड.
हाँ सर, कैसा है कि हमने जो नेशनल सेमिनार लिया है ये पर्टिकुलरली वन सब्जेक्ट एडल्ट एजुकेशन एंड लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग. तो मयूरी का जो क्वेश्चन है उसके लिए सेपरेट सेमिनार लेंगे और फिर उनका जो क्वेश्चन है वो सॉल्व करेंगे. कोई उसके बड़ी बात नहीं है. वन इज एडवोकेट गणेश हलकारे. आज द क्वेश्चन आई विल टोल्ड यू एडवोकेट गणेश हलकारे सर, आप जयकुमार सर का मैं आपको मेल एड्रेस दे दूंगा. आप प्लीज उनको मेल करके आपका जो क्वेश्चन है उसकी तैयारी कर सकते हैं. तो इसलिए हम जो थैंक्स बोलना चाहते हैं प्रोफेसर जयकुमार सर को.
Professor Jaykumar sir, on behalf of the department, we really thank you very much for providing a remarkable content that you have shared on various aspects like e-learning, online learning, sensors, learning paradigms, understanding digital transformation, becoming digital, focusing on various issues. And importantly, sir, the point you have mentioned, poverty is caused lack of distributive justice. That is very important thing that you have highlighted. And overall, I can say that sir insisted on being a lifelong learner by promoting ourselves as a self-learner and support lifelong learning. So thank you very much, sir, for giving your time.
Thank you.
Sir.
I sign off now. I sign off now.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Shrikant Patil, sir, to please present an introduction to our guest speaker, Dr. Dilip Patil, sir.
Dr. Dilip Patil, sir, can I audible? Patil, sir. Dilip Patil, sir.
Yes, sir. ऐकायला येत आहे?
ऐकायला येत आहे आपल्याला?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you for joining this national seminar. Our second speaker, as a guest speaker, Dr. Dilip Patil, sir. Dr. Dilip Patil, sir, is a PhD and MA in Rural Development from University of Mumbai, LLB from New Law College, University of Mumbai, MA in HR from ICMU, Nashik, Maharashtra State, BA in Economics, Political Science, and BA in Rural Development, University of Mumbai, shortlisted for the interview of Vice Chancellor for the post of University of Mumbai and other university also, shortlisted for the University of Vice Chancellor post in Homiyo Bhabha State University, Mumbai, and he is a very dynamic person and we all inspired from him. So, in 2006 to 2021, 14 years and 9 months, he is the Director, Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension in Mumbai University. He mobilized extension activity in G40 degree colleges from 7 districts of Konkan region, covering 34,786 colleges, students, and 900 college teachers. Spring projects for community that include skill development, career projects, entrepreneurship, industry orientation project, information technology, homeschooling, population education project, and status of women in society. This is a great achievement of Dr. Dilip Patil, sir. In 2005, the present research guide, he is a research guide in 16 years, and he guided MPhil 16 students and PhD 15 students in Rural Development, University of Mumbai. He is a principal St. Joseph College, Bihar district, Palghar. Course winter of 15 books on rural development for degree students of Institute of Open and Distance Learning, University of Mumbai. He is a 14 years experience as an associate professor. He is a world-based teacher program fellow. In 2021, 15 July, awarded International Community Development Award CDS from USA, representing Asia on Board of Director, Community Development Society, CDS, USA for 3 years, 2020 to 2023. CDS is a 52-year-old non-profitable organization. Many universities from the world are the member of Community Development Society, USA. He is a coordinator and organized research workshop and FDP for ICSSR WRC Mumbai. He is a very vast experience. He is a member of peer team NAC UGC Bangalore. Or an observer for UGC NITSET and BARC National Entrance Training Test NEST for young scientists. Member of various committees and resource person for orientation and refresher courses. Have represented India in 15th International Conference, including those held in New Zealand, Hong Kong, Thailand, Israel, Malaysia, England, South Africa, and the USA. Last 14 years, associate with Nirmiti Youth Foundation, an NGO of ex-NSS volunteers of Ruia College, Mumbai, implementing rural upliftment project in the tribal part of Vasai. Presently, President NYF, and from 1984 to 1990, worked as a full-time tribal volunteer under Jamnalal Bajaj Foundation Fellowship to implement rural projects in education, youth and rural sports, women and child development, drinking water, sanitation, social forestry, approximate technology, animal husbandry, etc. So this is a very long biodata or long work done by Dr. Dilip Patil sir. He is our respected director from Mumbai University. So he is still our retired. So we are healthy and calmful life. He is doing in his future life. So I request Dr. Patil sir, he can explain his topic, importance of lifelong learning in National Education Policy 2020 in dual mode, that is in Hindi and English also. So I humbly request Dr. Patil sir, please start their lecture. Thank you.
नमस्कार सर, ऐकायला येते, आवाज येतोय सगळ्यांपर्यंत?
सर व्यवस्थित येत आहे, व्यवस्थित.
अच्छा, धन्यवाद डॉक्टर श्रीकांत पाटील सर. Congratulations for organizing this type of workshop, which is very much needed for today's generation and for today's adult education and lifelong learning departments in all over India. I congratulate your registrar sir also, Dr. Tushar Deshmukh sir. Then the blessings you received from your Vice Chancellor sir, Dr. Dilip Malkhede, and the Vice Chancellor from Punjab Rao Deshmukh Krishi Vidyapit, Dr. Bhale. So because of them, you organize this, and the stalwarts in our adult education field, Professor Jay Kumar sir, and naturally the youngest professor, Dr. Jay Prakash Dubey sir. So I am very much lucky to accompany them for the presentation in this national level seminar. So whatever the topic given to me is the importance of lifelong learning in National Education Policy 2020, and the Earlier, Professor Jay Kumar sir, adoption of technology in delivering the extension services and education is very much needed for our DLLE, and naturally, we are eager to listen professionalization of lifelong learning and extension from Professor Dubey sir. Just I want to go back to the Jay Kumar sir. He's as I earlier mentioned, he's a stalwart in our field, and we always need his blessings. The focus of DLLE, he mentioned that before starting my NEP 2020, because he's already we are delayed by around 1 hour. So before that, just I want to give information about this focus, whatever the Jay Kumar sir mentioned about the migration. So is because the youth now, those who are listening here, those who are looking to us, they want something for youth because of the hard work of Professor Srikant Patil sir. They started in Amravati that MA in lifelong learning. So in very few universities having this course, like we are having a MA in rural development, PhD in rural development, but MA in lifelong learning, and these students and around 90 participants are here. I think they want to know about the lifelong learning for their respect. So migration, one of the focus of age group of 20 to 24, particularly about the male. I want to give an example of Mumbai University in Sindhudurga and Ratnagiri district. The colleges having extension work, and the alumni of extension work volunteers after graduation, they started their own small business, and they gave job to 4 to 5 people. Because of, and they are giving credit to our extension activities, because during the extension activities, we involve them in entrepreneurship development. We involve them in skill development. And now we are getting results because they started as a Konkan region in Maharashtra is famous for mango, cashew nut, a number of fruits. So they are the son and daughters of farmers. And they started at the backyard of their houses in Sindhudurga and Ratnagiri, mango processing, cashew nut processing. And they realized here we are getting good amount of income at their own places, because they don't have to invest anything in their business. They're having their backyard space. They're having their small crops they are getting, which earlier they sold to the others. But now they realize, because of working through the industry-oriented program, through DLLE, Department of Lifelong Learning, because of that college is having like a Devgarh Hapus, we know, Ratnagiri Hapus, we know. So through that college, so they realized that, and they started like that. Otherwise, earlier, this age group, 20 to 24, all over India, not only all over the globe, they want to migrate to the cities. And main city is in Mumbai. So they migrating after graduation, staying in chawls or slums, earning 10,000 to 15,000 maximum. So these are their lifestyle or livelihood. So because of extension work, because of these projects, they settle in their own village. And they are the happy, but their parents are more happy, because their parents are feel our children are staying with us. That is a achievement of extension program, because naturally as a parent, we know our children after graduation, after post-graduation, after PhD, they are unable to live because of they are getting more exposure outside, other countries, other big cities. So here the parents are more happy. At the same time, naturally, at the beginning, if they are giving employment to 4 or 5 people, automatically it will increase, and after a few years, it will go to 400 to 500 people. That is a success of our DLE, lifelong learning and extension. Second thing about the technical education, that is add-on courses we implemented for last 10 years. And because of technical thing, because we are having a good e-learning lab and virtual classroom we develop, because Professor Dubey and Professor Jaikumar sir knows this. In 2009, we received a grant to set up a e-learning lab or center. So that time we developed that center. And not only Mumbai University, but Shivaji University staff also I invited and gave them training. And because of the technical things, the students received add-on courses, the college students. And they got small things of 6-month certificate or 3-month certificate. The universities, through university certificate, they got some jobs also. Like for example, even now also last 10 years, one course is going on, e-taxation at Kolhapur city. And every 6 months, those were around 50-60 people coming out. Not only students, community people also. They're coming out, and there is a queue of chartered accountant to get these people. They're having certificate of Mumbai University taxation, including GST. So these chartered accountant, they don't want a 75% or distinction BCom. They want a person who knows the online filing. So that type of add-on courses, we are getting the students. I think the earlier question was from one student that how they will get a job or how they can start a business. This is the answer, because this is the capacity we are having in lifelong learning and extension. About the vocational and institutional technical training through extension projects during their college, 3 years college life, which will be helpful for them to get a job or start their business. Information technology, IT projects, that is a computer literacy and financial literacy. That is not only for the adult, even young people also, we are very much needed about the financial literacy. Because we don't know what is the meaning of RTGS. What is the current account, difference between current account and saving account. If we are graduate, but these are the small things we should know, and the extension work or DLLE is the only opportunity you can learn without the whatever not in syllabus. So we prepared a syllabus like a NEP. I'm going to NEP, but because of the questions I seen and the Jaikumar sir also already explained that. So these are the live examples I'm giving, adding them. So these are the things through household also, migration SWS, healthcare, hospitality, education. There are a number of opportunities are there in the Japan. They came to us to recruit in this elderly helping people they want. But the little Japanese knowledge that boy or girl should know. So that comes under hospitality. So these are the avenues that are waiting for you. And one side, we don't have that employability. That's why we are getting unemployment. About this pandemic situation in education, our volunteers in Sindhudurga district, with the help of Pratham NGOs, they took tuitions of their own village students at their outside the area of their house. So this is how they overcome the pandemic situation, because students don't have to go to school. They don't have to go to out the village. So these are the extension work, volunteers, they work there. And these are the few addition and the examples I gave. Now I want to share about the national education policy. This is the, can you see all of them? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
But yeah. So I'm giving, I told one of my colleague teacher, she is a Mrs. Jayashree Sharad Thakre. Last 15 years, she is working for these activities of extension work activities, and she prepared about the NEP, and beautifully she prepared, naturally under the motivation of us, and she prepared this about that. So whatever the chapters are there, I want to give you, this is the actually you can see national education policy, and then our is in 51 and 52. See, this is the adult education and lifelong learning 51. Around total is around 27 in part 4. This is the national education policy. And see, about the just I want to go straight away to our policy, national education policy. The audience is earlier one girl told she is more comfortable in Hindi. So I will use Hindi also in between. If you want, I can use Marathi also. So whichever comfortable for you. So this is the professional education. And now after that, see, this is a national education policy related with our field. So many of you, I think, are the students of MA in lifelong learning. So they should know about their subject, a status of that subject in the national education policy. So they should know, they have to read this, all these things, adult education, lifelong learning. And I'm explaining from 21 to 10. 1, 2, 3, whatever the points are there, and not theoretically. So this is up to 10 finally, like that. But it is not like that with the I will give you the national education policy in detail. I want to see. Now you see in the 21.1. So this is 21 adult education and lifelong learning. The points cover in that, it is in nutshell. Whatever paragraphs you received, that is in paragraph. So in paragraph, you can summarize that in points. What points are covered? Foundational literacy as a basic rights of every citizen, disadvantages, non-literate literate member of the community. When we are talking disadvantages, non-literate member of a community, so naturally we have to reach to them, means reach to unreach. You can see the badge on at my heart. So reach to unreach. This is the objective of Mumbai University DLLE. Then the key success factor of adult literacy program. That is mentioned. I'm not reading all these things, but whatever the mentions are there, then strong and innovative government initiative for adult education. That you should know. The curriculum framework for adult education, suitable infrastructure, the instructor educator, the participation of community member, the availability and accessibility of books to provide technology, strengthen the above initiative. About the instructor and educator, naturally every state having different policies. In Maharashtra, we are also having different policies, and for that there are openings also in the department in few months for the director post, and we need assistant professor, the associate professor, but because of pandemic situation, the new recruitment for lecturership is banned in Maharashtra at present. But at the same time, we have to develop ourselves, whatever requirement in all these things. So you will get easily absorbed in the adult education field. See, chapter 21.1 is a basic education and literacy provides opportunities to progress personally and professionally and are a powerful force multipliers for nation progress. You can see these childs, they are from the Uttarakhand or Kashmir state. You can see all this. And second thing about the worldwide data on nation indicates extremely high correlation between literacy rates as per capita GDP. You can see here the literacy and extreme poverty. You're going like that. Excess of water, percentage free countries, GDP per capita, life expectancy, war death. You can see like this. So that is on in chapter 21.1. Now chapter 21.2. Non-literate member of the community. They are unable to carry out financial transaction. You've seen in the our student volunteers are under the projects. They are going into nationalized bank in every first week of every month. For what? To fill that form of pensioners to withdraw their pension. Majority are from the ex-servicemen and their wives, the war widows. So they are helping them to, because they are unable to fill the forms. There are a number of financial requirements about the investment. So many things are there. They receive money from government, but they don't know anything about the financial. So our volunteers going there. Second thing about the consumer rights. Our Sindhudurg district field coordinators, honorary field coordinator Suresh Patil sir. He is a president of consumer rights for that district. So exercise consumer rights. We are illiterate in this. Even though we are PhD holders, we are illiterate. So because of this department and this extension activity, we can go through this. Then fill the forms for bank loan jobs. Even the first students went for the getting a loan. He has to take help from CA or chartered accountant or the middleman. So for that forms, it is enabled non-literate member. This is not only those who are having degrees, but they don't have the knowledge. And that knowledge, our students, our extension work students can work for that. Understand public circulars. That is very much important. We don't know about the public circulars. And that our student volunteers are doing that. So everything is NEP. Then communicate through electronic media. As I earlier told that 1.5 crores, that virtual classroom and e-learning, we started in 2009. And many departments having funds received from the UGC. Earlier it was, we had to go and present our budget. But because of non-utilization of funds, now we are not getting funds from that, but we develop our own income, like Mumbai University, around 30 to 40 lakhs per year. We are getting income from all these things about this and academic also. Naturally, there is a confusion in many universities, authorities, that this department is not an academic department. It is good that Amravati University having this courses, like we are also having that MA, MPhil, PhD. Then outcome to be achieved through national education was able to see this invoice, consumer protection, literacy, the answers of all these things, communicating through electronic media. So whatever it is there in NEP, we have to go for that. In university system, there are number of departments, but the number of departments having, they are specialized in their own subject. Means they are teaching, they are preparing their students what to earn after the graduation, after the post-graduation, when they entered in the society or job market, what to earn they know. But Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, they taught our students, volunteers, they are already doing courses or doing degrees, how to earn. That is the most important. What to earn from the subject, but how to earn from the extension work. And that is also the intention of our NEP. This is chapter number 21.3. That is a volunteerism, political will, organized structure, community involvement, organized structure, adequate financial support, educator, success of adult literacy programs. So these are the things, how we can go step by step. That is mentioned in 21.3. See, 21.4 chapter in NEP is community involvement, medical, distribution of information, and beneficial integration of technology. Like our professor sir Jay Kumar sir gave more stress on the technology. This is very much important. We have to adopt this technology. That's why computer literacy and financial literacy, that is not only for adults, that is on all for all age group. That is 100% we can say literacy. Now in NEP chapter 21.5, adult education curriculum framework developed by new constituent body of NCERT. You know about the NCERT. NCERT publishing various modules and so many books and for the school education and a few college education. So like that, the program foundation literacy and numeracy. Outcome is literacy, critical life skill, financial literacy, digital literacy, commercial skill, healthcare and awareness, child care and education, and family welfare. This is very much important during this pandemic situation. And vocational skill development, obtaining local employment. Local is very much important because many rural areas, you see the businessmen coming from thousands of kilometers and starting their business there and earning good. So why not our own students in their own village, at their own house, they can start this type of develop employment. So basic education, preparatory, middle and secondary stage equivalency. So these are the basic we mentioned about the adult education curriculum framework for developed by NCERT. Then continuing education, very important program. Engaging holistic adult education courses in arts, science, technology, culture, sports, and recreation, as well as the other topic of interest or used to local learners, such as more advanced material or critical life skill. That is a important thing, critical life skill. So these are the things available. We have to develop our students to think on this. And that is for as per NEP. Chapter number 21.6, that is a suitable infrastructure. Adult education centers could also be included within the other public institutions such as higher education institution, vocational training centers, etc. You see the pictures. The use of school and school complex after school hours and on weekends and public library space for adult education courses which will be ICT equipped. In many colleges, out of 314 colleges, many colleges are running extension work, add-on courses in their computer lab for the students, not only for students, for community also. And for that, one of the college I can say in Navi Mumbai, in Raigad district, because of that is a project affected area district, they received a grant from Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana for project affected people. And now the Municipal Corporation of Navi Mumbai, they issue a tender. And that tender received by one college, they fill a tender to teach storekeeping services, storekeeping course for project affected. Which project affected? The new international airport coming at near Panvel, and around 10 villages are affected. They migrated, government migrated from one place to another place. And that migrated families, children are studying in college as well as they already graduated. So with the help of government funds, SIDCO is a middleman, and the local self-government as a Mahanagar Palika or municipal corporation, they share that, and free of cost under the certification of University of Mumbai, they implemented this course. So these are the positive side of affected people, where after the getting the like a JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, and the new airport is coming, already the manpower at supervisory or lower supervisory cadre we are developing for coming new project. So like that, we can develop. Otherwise, they will become a jobless and landless also. Not only landless, but jobless also. So now this is chapter 21.7, the instructor educator. You can see the national, state, district level resource support institution, volunteers, instructor, qualified community member, qualified member from higher education institute. Here our extension work teachers are working. And here our volunteers of colleges, extension work volunteer, they are getting 10 grace marks for a year after work for 120 hours for the society. And qualified members for higher education, then training, adult literacy. And here you can see. Don't misunderstand that adult education means only you have to start with A, B, C, D. No. Computer literacy, financial literacy in our own university or our own college, those staff is working as a class 4, class 3 employee, even class 2 also. We conducted a training for computer literacy for them. That is also adult education. There comes under that adult education criteria. Here 21.8 chapter, participation of community member in adult education. See, here social work and counselor, they're going hands in hand. That local adult education centers, initiative of NGOs, announcement, advertisement, non-enrolled students and dropouts. These are dropouts. So we are running that NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling for Dropouts. Already there, and every year we are getting good around 50. During my 15 years of tenure as a director, 50 sweepers, hamal, watchman, peon, drivers, 50. We make them a 12th senior secondary and senior secondary pass out. Out of that, 25 peons got a graduation admission in distance education. Out of 5, 25 got a MPhil. And out of that, now 3 peons are doing PhD. It is not comes under in my biodata about my score and what ISSN, ISBN, whatever. No, but you can check anytime in Mumbai University. These are the things about the non-enrolled students like this and this. That is the only opportunity we are getting because of this adult education, lifelong learning department. That you have to think. See, to chapter number 21.9, availability and accessibility of books. You can read. I'm not going to read all these things, but you can see the all communities and education institutes, schools, colleges, universities, and public libraries will strengthen and modernize. We are always talking about the what we have to do, what we have to do. But when what already you done, that question should be there. If I'm talking like this, then you have to ask me, okay, it's good. Last 31 years of your education, what you did from this. So that is important. It is very easy to give you all this structure and everything. But that is important. Setting up a rural libraries, reading rooms in a disadvantaged region, making widely, all this is on paper and funds are also available. But we have to work hard for this. See, the quality technology-based option for adult learning through government and philanthropic initiative, as well as through crowd sourcing and competitions will be developed. Then apps, online courses, satellite-based TV channels, education, adult education centers, ICT libraries, online books. Quality adult education could thereby be conducted in an online or blended mode, blended both. Doni bajuni, both classroom as well as online, because all around 30% students is our survey unable to take admission in higher education in Mumbai University because of this pandemic situation. Mumbai University means not only Mumbai. Mumbai University means Mumbai, Mumbai Sabam, Palghar, Raigad, Ratnagiri, in Thane district. In Thane district, if we visit Palghar district, we visited in tribal areas, is worse than the other part of India. Unable to, the graduate students, they don't have money to wear their chappal. This is a fact. Means Mumbai University not for that. So our department always thinking about these outside the classroom. and how we can bring up that students. In no other department in university having this type of opportunity. That opportunity we are getting, and if we utilize, naturally results will be very good. So thank you very much. This is a acknowledgement and UNESCO report and some sites we use for this presentation. It is I told earlier Dr. Shrikant Patil sir about I will finish within half an hour. So I started at 1:30 and now it's 1:40. So if any questions, I kept it 10 minutes for them. So please start asking me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. If anyone is having any question regarding the topic, so you may ask, sir. You may ask, sir. If you are having any question, you may put question in a comment window even.
सगळ्यांना भूक लागलेली आहे त्यामुळे सकाळपासून तरी खाल्लं नसेल. No issue, no problem. I'm eager to listen, Professor Dubey, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for providing remarkable knowledge for various issues and elaborating such a wonderful presentation related to various aspects, specifically important of lifelong learning and adult education in National Education Policy 2020. Sir has even answered the previous question even. And as well as, sir, one more thing I have observed in your presentation, as you have encouraged even peons to pursue MPhil and PhD. So the same way your presentation encouraging us to promote ourselves towards lifelong learning and extension. Thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable time. Now I ask again a very honorable person. So for that, I call upon Professor Asra Pathan to please present an introduction of Jaiprakash Dubey, madam. Professor Asra Pathan, you may unmute yourself.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce such a guest personality, Dr. Jaiprakash Dubey, sir. He is a professor in the Department of Adult Continuing Education and Extension, University of Delhi. Has been the founding director of Delhi School of Journalism, head Department of Adult Continuing Education and Extension in year 2015 to 2018, Dean Faculty of Social Science, University of Delhi in 2016 to 2018. With more than 3 decades of experience, he has extensively contributed to the research and educational administration. While serving as member of the Executive and Academic Council and as Dean, he established 2 prominent institutions of DSJ, an Institute of Cyber Security and Law in 2017. He chaired the 2 standing committees and on admissions and student affairs for the academic year 2016 and 17, wherein he introduced complete online admission process and took entrance examination to various centers across the country for the first time. Professor Dubey is honorary secretary of the Indian University Association for Continuing Education and executive member to Indian Academy of Social Science. Professor Dubey has done major and minor projects on extension, skill training, health services, and old populations. He developed the international project on adult and lifelong education, Indian and German insights in 2016-17. Worth ₹88 lakhs and is the principal investigator. The project involved students and faculty mobility for research on Indo-German insights. Professor Dubey has written more than 30 research papers, authored 4 books, and given more than 50 invited talks on issues closely related to extension. His book on university extension, structure and function was published by Lambert Academic Publications, Germany in 2010. Thank you. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, Asra. Professor Dilip Malkhede, sir, who is the inspiration behind this entire exercise. Professor B. Ambhale, sir. Professor Jay Kumar, sir. Professor Dilip Patil. And the person who is holding this seminar and the convener, Professor Srikant Patil. They are good friends also. Luckily, I enjoyed their hospitality, their friendship, and it has been a very long period of time. And we have been thinking of having Professor Jay Kumar sometimes in November at our IUAC platform, but for some reason we could not make it. Professor Patil has made it possible today. और ये एक बड़ा कमाल की बात रही है. कई मायनों में एक कमाल हुआ है. कारण इसका ये है कि for a fairly long time, it was 1997-98 when I heard Professor Jay Kumar, and I was in his close contact for more than 6-7 days, which he spared to Mumbai University when Professor Renu Narang was heading the department, and there was a very successful program of refresher courses. I have been thinking of it, and today I went back to the 1997-98 when he was presenting something which we have almost abandoned basically. What we have abandoned, I have been asked by Professor Patil to talk about professionalization of adult continuing education or lifelong learning and extension. In principle, there are contradictions in professionalizing lifelong learning and extension, because it is all about power of experimentation. We are a department surviving in a jamboree of departments, those who have historical growth, those who have historical antiquity, and good amount of research to back on. We had to fight them on certain issues which were not related to. There were two completely different parallels that has to be drawn. We were supposed to be doing what the state was thinking. The state was conceptualizing something, and we were expected to translate these concepts into functional system. That was the basic work with which all these extension departments were expected to be performing. Ye sari prakriya, and it all not started from the state initiative. This all started from the universities itself. When the universities themselves started talking about why should we not be associating more closely with the society? हम समाज से क्यों नहीं जुड़े? समाज से जुड़ने की इस प्रक्रिया में हम क्या कर सकते हैं? And believe me, University Grants Commission started some discussion, and 3-4 major discussions were held during 74, 75, 76. And in all these deliberations, it clearly emerged that universities are working in isolation. What Professor Jay Kumar was saying, we are all a solitary tree. Each university was working in isolation as a solitary tree. They were confident of their knowledge generation system, and whatever knowledge they were generating, they were enriching this knowledge from borrowing from other institutions and disseminating it, without taking into consideration for whom these knowledge were created. Today, Professor Jay Kumar hinted us that what we could have done and what we should do now. I'm deviating from my professional talk only temporarily. I will go back to that situation, but temporarily I'm deviating deliberately because we have been seeing that there has been a surge in our activities. We all witnessed to the movement, the spree of activities during from 1978 to 1998-99, when each and every university was making some experiment. Everybody was trying to specialize in some particular areas. And that is why Pune University was working with grape farmers. They were working with the Marathi literature. Professor Jayakumar, being so technology savvy and very innovative in exploration activities, he was doing very substantive work at Coimbatore University. Delhi University, you will be surprised to know, in 1984, we had a solar system conference in which for 3 days, food were served to the people made on the solar cooker. It was a technology demonstration program. It was not only science communication. In fact, science communication also went there. Environmental concerns were considered there. Even disability was a focused issue. UNICEF granted us 3 refresher courses of 21 days. These are the training programs intended to link you with the community. This power of linkages was very exclusive to each university, but this did not prevent us from collaborating. That collaboration was also again imported or given to us by the University Grants Commission in the form of some population education resource centers. When they were asking, there will be 1 university, they will be serving for more than 25 universities, when 12 population education resource centers were. The whole idea was that with this structure, when 1 nodal university is there and 12 other universities are collaborating with each other, it means there is a lot of sharing is likely to be there. This sharing continued on a very temporary basis, and very suddenly everybody started working on those. I worked on extension services of higher education system way back in 1996-97, and I noticed that there were multiple nomenclature with these university departments. Some were centers, some were groups, some were lifelong learning, some were rural development, not lifelong learning, some extension, something like this. But every institution was working on a common platform. Literacy, since literacy was the flagship program of the government of India since 1978-79, when National Adult Education Program was done. So that became part of each university department. And who else can be a very strong votary of this university academic engagement in literacy program other than the Professor Jayakumar, when he left his home and he was in the field for several days. So that was the temporary assignment. That was the temporary. It doesn't mean that the government of India has stopped funding us and they will be continuously funding us for the same activities. The same activities cannot be funded. Yes, we made some changes to this. And these changes were what? When we started introducing some certification programs in our university system. These certification programs were an upgradation of the certification program for the community people when the continuing education programs were started in 1981-82. These are the part of the professionalization exercises. ये professionalization की जो exercises हुई, each university did different sets of continuing education program. And this is what professionalization demands. कि जो भी आप काम कर रहे हैं, whatever you are doing, that has to be done with a set of standard practices. And that set of standard practices can only be generated when you design a course structure. That was the difficulty. Only 5 days, 6 days training program also are a very organized activity. That organized activities became part of each of the Department of Adult Continuing Education program in higher education system. And that became a challenge to many other departments because they were borrowing curriculum from other places and you were creating curriculum for the people. Even if these curriculums were not very high standard, you were doing a job which currently is being expected from each and every academician and institutions. This is what is the professionalization we started with. And first major exercise to counter this, to support this program was introduction of 1-year post-MA diploma in adult and continuing education. That too also came from the University Grant Commission in 1984-85. When they said, let there be some a course structure. With that course structure, some people will be trained for a particular set of activities. It was managerial training, basically. It was not a purely academic exercise, but professionalization input were comprehensively inbuilt into it. Because these were meant for two sets of people. One, those who are likely to be making some contribution into the adult continuing education and extension areas, or for that matter, lifelong learning. And other people, those who were already part of it, but they need to be trained and retrained for an optimized use of their resources. Not their own resources, but the government resources also. And this process continued in some universities, and in at least in Delhi University, it continued till 2013-14, and it has not yielded a bad result. I will tell you, it was one of the very organized program, but in between, several other universities also stepped into with their own set of professionalization exercises. And all these professionalization exercises were aimed at bringing out some standard practices. The practices which were adopted during NAEP, National Adult Education Program. National Adult Education Program designed a training program, and the same training program were almost recreated in by National Literacy Mission authorities in 1988, when they developed a training manual, very comprehensive 200-page training manual, learning for participation and approach to training in adult education. And it was a good exercise. And I tell you why it was good. Before bringing out these training materials, mind it was one major step by Government of India in bringing out some input of professionalization in adult continuing education by developing and giving it to the institutions, those who were engaged in teaching learning processes. And we got it, and we made an attempt to test these. And these were tested into the areas. And it was almost 15 days training program in 6 stages. In these 6 stages, first stage for 2 days, second stage for 3 days, 4 days. It was like this one. And these training programs were tested. This is the field testing. Field testing or pilot testing is one of the research methodology. And this is how professionalization begins. So this was done by, I think 4 universities were given this job, and luckily Delhi University was also one of them. Pune also got it, and one Calcutta in Bardhaman University was also given this exercise, and they tested these manuals. And in testing these manuals, they suggested some changes. These changes were incorporated into that manual, and then this. But what these changes did not accommodate was that the entire sets of teaching learning process in the adult education program of National Literacy Mission Authority was intended to be a very individual instructional program, each one teach one type of strategy, not a group learning situation, which Professor Jayakumar was also saying learning is a collective exercise. So collective exercise, on which premise National Adult Education Program was designed, was comprehensively taken away from that NAEP, and it was replaced by an individual program. Why this threat was there, I don't know. Why it became so threatening to the people, but it did not work. And the government took it as an affront when some people objected to. This objection was overruled, and entire program was given a new direction of a very voluntary based, motivated, and forceful head count literacy program. The moment it became head count literacy program, majority of the universities lost their interest into participation, because you need to have a small group of people, those who are working with you, and you need to monitor and regulate them with the ultimate objective of finding some insight into it. And that is why Adult Extension Education Department were created, that once you are part of a higher education system, you are not going to replicate the work done by other departments, but you are going to innovate and explore newer areas of work and new methodology of work. This new methodology was that either you are going to the community or you are bringing community to the university. This was a very strong university community interaction paradigm. And in this paradigm, the whole exercise was intended to, that with this interaction, there will be two things, two tangible processes we will be working on. One was that the community will get some service, because you are going to community not only to understand the community, but you are going with some attraction of offering them some services. And these services started from literacy program to an N number of activities. बहुत सारी चीजें हुई. Even adult education department were comprehensively engaged in urban areas, in slums, in helping people getting ration cards, voter I cards, and so many things were happening. So this is how these things were going on. But this was one set of activities. The second set of activity was bring community to the university, and the community also came to the university with short-term courses. And in between, this interface was intended to bring some critical insight into the life of the people so that these can be absorbed and accommodated into the teaching learning process. This process was derailed for some time. And that is what prevented us from making experiments. Each university was making experiment, but now, at least with the withdrawal of fundings, जो एक dedicated funding होती थी, the sponsorship program, now each university department has started exploring its in newer areas of work. And luckily, two things which were dominating university extension program, that one, that the technology mediated extensions were in operation for a very long time. Since 1920s, basically, technology-mediated extension services were in the functioning. Agriculture were doing, medical practitioners were doing, some home science people were doing, but knowledge-mediated services and extension were not happening. And these departments started doing knowledge-mediated extension services. Now, Professor Jayakumar has brought in technology again into focus by integrating knowledge and technology, both as medium of delivery of services. That was the issue. Once you deliver the services in a customized basis, and technology is helping us in customizing these services, we don't need a lot of money for that, because each person can create n number, and it is not impossible. I tell you, some 9 years ago, I was asked by this Coca-Cola bottling plants in Ghaziabad to develop a primer for Anganwadi workers, which is not a standard one, but which is variable one, which accommodates religion, caste, and so many things, because nobody should be offered a horizontal curriculum. They wanted a curriculum which is flexible in nature, so that if the learner is coming from a particular set of population, he or she should be offered that particular curriculum. That modulation was already in practice, but we at the Adult Education Department could not make much use of it. Now, this option is open. And with Moodle platform, Professor Jayakumar ने बार-बार कहा है कि this Moodle platform is offering opportunity to all of us in sharing our own work with each other, so that it is likely to be strengthening our peer functioning system. This is what is the professionalization. Yeah, I'm not talking about in one day we will become History Academy or Political Science Association, but this can help us in overcoming some of the difficulties of some boundaries in which we were not able to create a standard set of activities. We don't worry about standard set of activities, but whatever we are doing, it needs to be done in a particular way, and that way should be shared among our own peer groups. वो peer group वो certify करता है, and we don't need to be certified by everybody. ये भी एक समस्या नहीं है हमारी समस्या ये है कि वी नीड टू बी एक्नॉलेज्ड अमंग आवरसेल्फ. Our immediate community is of great significance. Immediate community हमारी दो है, our own peer group and the people with whom we are working. Historically, we have been working with an adult illiterate population, and that is what has been a bane of our whole functioning system. Adult education became an adult literacy program. It wasn't an adult literacy program. It is for all adults, those who are in needs of certain educational, technical, or professional services. And technology is likely to be helping us in delivering that services. So professionalization is now looking beyond these standards, but professionalization is looking in competencies which can be not only of the content creation, but the content variation also. Differentiations, jisko kehte hain, differential level of functioning. A differential level of services has to be offered. That training should be made part of our own teaching learning processes. Luckily, majority of the universities, at least 60 odd universities, are still functioning. With some estimates, they are 70 plus basically. Like 64, 65 universities are still working in these areas. And out of these 64, 65, some have designed their own course curriculum, which ranges from rural development to extension to adult education to lifelong learning to so many other things. There is no problem in it. You keep on making experiments, and these experiments give you results. How these experiments have given us result, I have several examples with me, but I would not plagiarize the examples of others, but I would like to share my own example from the Delhi University. There are 4 issues. 4 ऐसी घटनाएं हैं. There are many more basically, but I would like to bring out 4 major areas in which our work has resulted in something which is known as curricular reform. The ultimate objective of university community interaction was bringing out curricular reform, changing your pedagogy, enriching your curriculum with the people's concern. सोसाइटल कंसर्न. तभी तो हम पॉपुलेशन पर भी काम करते थे, कास्ट पर भी काम करते थे, रिलीजन पर भी काम करते थे, एग्रीकल्चर पर भी काम करते थे. व्हाई? बिकॉज द यूनिवर्सिटी की जो हमारी कम्युनिटी थी आसपास की, दैट कम्युनिटी वाज ऑफरिंग अस द एरियाज इन व्हिच वी शुड वर्क. तो वो काम हम करते रहे. उसी काम के तहत 4 चीजें मैं आपके सामने रखता हूं. देयर वाज ए टाइम व्हेन law departments were not considering legal literacy as an area of their own concern. They rejected it. What is legal literacy? We are the people of legal jurisprudence. We don't talk about legal literacy. Today, almost every law department of the country has a legal literacy paper. This is the change you brought about. You worked on this for more than 30 years. Even paralegal training, when we were working in 1988-89 on paralegal training, they said, how can the judiciary people be trained and retrained? And you will be surprised to know that when we were working in one of the Delhi University College, program to hamara tha, but we were offering these into the nearby Supreme Court and High Court area, majority of the students were subordinate judges of Delhi courts and high courts. And today, public interest litigation, paralegal training, they are all part of the legal education, legal system of education. Third issue, we were working on right to information. Right to information has gone beyond. It is now before everybody. But one such input was right to information about protecting your identity also. Today, cybersecurity has overtaken everything. And that is why we were working to some extent, and that has helped us in professionalizing a curriculum. And that curriculum has been upgraded into a 1-year postgraduate diploma in cybersecurity and law. It includes all those individual concerns, your vulnerability, your strength, your communicability, and the power of communication. Everything is part of that. Same was the case with the when we were doing science and sports journalism in our university. For 26 years, we ran this program, and we could not create magic in the eye of those who are part of the planning process, that journalism could also be made part of the educational system. On demand of the students, Delhi University introduced a 5-year integrated program in journalism on the recommendation of the Department of Adult Education. This is how our professionalization is not only about what you are doing has to be done in a particular way. Our professionalization is also about how much you can do. What else can you do? How can you innovate, explore, and integrate it into the teaching learning process? This teaching learning process has been enriched by the departments of adult continuing education. I would like to share you that even Law Department of Delhi University has incorporated adult pedagogy as one of the paper. And how this adult pedagogy has been incorporated as a paper in law education, because the person concerned had worked with us for more than 4 or 5 years as an adult educator program. And they found it that it is a good idea. The same thing I see today with presentation of Professor Jayakumar, that now technology needs to be made integral part of our whole functioning system. We need to graduate from the simple knowledge dissemination system to knowledge dissemination system through technology. And this is what National Education Policy 2020 talks about. People are saying that National Education Policy has not accommodated adult education. I tell you, sir, National Education Policy has framed its basis on the working of adult education. The way you started non-credit courses, non-evaluative courses, because non-credit and non-evaluative courses were not recognized by the university system. But now these same courses are now being given credit. The methodology of having short-term courses has now been integrated into the main structure of a higher education system. Today, Delhi University, day before yesterday, has released its draft curriculum for undergraduate courses. You see these courses, you will find that how you wanted your own education in adult education to be done. Even the post-MA diploma students were not recognized for the PhD registration program. We fought it tooth and nail, and University of Delhi agreed in 1991 that yes, the way it has been designed, the way it is imparting instruction, the way the rigor with which it is working shall be considered as an enabler to the people, those who are already postgraduate, and if they have done this post-MA diploma, they can be considered for the PhD registration, and the PhD registration process has started. So willy-nilly, knowingly or unknowingly, we have been instrumental in bringing out some changes, but that is not the end. This has to be continuously upgraded. This professionalization has to be also made part. Professionalization for enriching your own basic premise of university community interaction. And second, continuously exploring the newer ways of university community interaction, both for delivering services and developing critical insights so that teaching learning process can be enriched and that process will go on. मुझे लगता है कि to make more addition may sound repetition, because Professor Jayakumar has laid a very firm foundation for us. I'm not saying कि दिलीप पाटिल साहब का presentation कहीं कम था. What Dilip Patil was doing was very specific to University of Mumbai. What I shared was very specific to my university. What Pune University did, what this Trichinapalli has done, that they have developed Entrepreneurship Institute. What Tirupati University has done, they were basically first one who attempted a 4-year degree program of undergraduate program. So each university department has made some attempts, and all attempts do not result into 100% success. But it does not prevent us from making experiments. So power of experiment with the Department of Adult Education is a liberty. This liberty is not available to all other departments. Let us use it. And I would like to request Professor Jay Kumar again that we shall meet again on a platform of this Indian University Association, and many more other institutions can also join, so that a much bigger audience with much firmer participation, and those, at least those, because not everybody here is the policy part of the administrative structure. We are all teachers basically, but in that program, all directors and all head of the department should also be invited, so that they can take this, and because if somebody suggests to them, it may not work. But if they are exposed to it with the person who is communicating, that will help this process to move on. With this request, I thank you, Professor Srikant Patil, to very quickly managing this interaction and bringing this interaction to a very high level of interaction. Normally, adult education interactions taper down very bluntly. They do not grow in stature. But Professor Jay Kumar has helped us think beyond. Sir, thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Patil, and everybody, thank you very much. I know a lot of senior people, those who are part of it, are still connected with it. I salute their persistence, their concern, and willingness to contribute further. We hope we can continue this engagement later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Dubey, sir. I must say that I'm feeling very proud to share a platform where a scholar and legend like you and Professor Jay Kumar, Dr. Dilip Patil, and Dr. Srikant Patil and others are gathered, who are literally a master and scholar in their field. Thank you very much, sir, for your concern, time, knowledge, and willingness toward the next month. Thank you once again, sir. So one announcement is here that I have to say. A feedback link will be provided. Feedback link will be provided at the last of the program, and you will get it in the chat box. Fill it, submit it. Certificate will be awarded to you all on your email ID. Thank you for all listening. So the webinar has. So before bidding farewell, I would like to call Dr. Srikant Patil, sir. Please show gratitude towards all. Dr. Srikant Patil, sir, over to you, sir.
प्रोफेसर पाटिल, बीच में एक छोटा सा इंटरवेंशन है मेरा, बहुत छोटा सा इंटरवेंशन है। मैं आया तो था कुछ और बोलने के लिए और मैंने बोला कुछ और है, but what I will do is to send you the competencies which I have identified, which should be made part of the professionalization exercises. You can share it with, there are 17, 18 competencies of earlier time. And if you add on the competencies suggested by Professor Jay Kumar, it will be a huge resource for you, that these are the competencies, smaller competencies. When I was working on a skill training project in 2008-07, we identified 17 sector skills. In fact, they are not 17 sector skills. They are more than 3,000 sector skills. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं और वो सब हमारे साथ आनी चाहिए. Let all these things be, that is also part of the compilation of professional exercise of our. आप अगर ऐसा कुछ कर पाएंगे तो it will be.
बिल्कुल सर, आप सजेशन दीजिए, बिल्कुल हो जाएगा, जयकुमार सर से भी हम रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे, उनसे भी स्मॉल कॉम्पिटेंसी मंगा लेंगे और आपसे भी लेके उसको एक कंपाइल करके इट शुड बी स्प्रेड ऑल ओवर आवर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप आल्सो एंड आवर डिपार्टमेंट आल्सो, एंड इट शुड बी सजेस्टेड टू द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. It should be suggested to the state government through proper channel, because they are very eager to suggest more and more things for the purpose of this National Education Policy 2020. Sir, please, have you any another suggestion?
या देखिए, दो चीजें हैं. एक तो ये है कि मुझे लगता है कि दिस प्लेटफॉर्म somehow has come into being that we know everybody. मुझे I tell you ना, मैंने कहा ना कि I met Professor Jayakumar long back in 1997-98, and his communication worked with me in 2009-10 in derailing a government project, that those people, those who have contributed significantly, they are not finding space in the history writing of adult education. Why? And I derailed it basically, and I specifically quoted your case. That I know personally that he has been to this. I knew other people also, but in your case, I knew it, that you have spent a lot of time. And the way you are working with the technology group, जिस तरीके से आप काम कर रहे हैं, and the knowledge base you have created amongst yourself, it's not easy. It doesn't come very cheaply. It comes with a very strong dedication and commitment. तो वो मैंने इस्तेमाल किया है. तो एटलीस्ट नाउ दिस प्लेटफॉर्म इज विद अस, वी कैन वेरी इजीली शेयर विद ईच अदर, और कर ही रहे हैं. वी हैव एटलीस्ट स्टार्टेड. मुझे तो नहीं लगता है कि इसके पहले हम इतना फ्रीक्वेंटली किसी से कम्युनिकेट भी कर पाते थे, बट नाउ एटलीस्ट दिस प्रोसेस इज ऑन, एंड दिस प्रोसेस शुड बी टेकन टू द फर्दर लेवल. लेट अदर पीपल आल्सो कम इनटू एंड मेक एफर्ट्स कि छोटा छोटा इशू आइडेंटिफाई करें, एंड वील वर्क ऑन दिस.
Definitely, we are planning these types of projects, and under your guidance, we can put a small summary and identify sectors which will be work by this lifelong learning and extension.
प्रोफेसर पाटिल, मुझे लगता है ना कि आप इमीडिएटली, प्रोफेसर जयकुमार, प्रोफेसर पाटिल इज वर्किंग with several language learning program. He has developed a language learning program for different sets of people, and he's technology friendly. It is not technology savvy, but he's technology friendly. मुझे लगता है कि in for some of your presentations, he can take, or for that matter, Dilip is also very technology friendly. So at least these two people can take up some issues, some skill areas, and try to look into their respective industrial base, where they can chip into. How the adult illiterate or adult literate, now you have changed the definition of adult population. It is not about alphabetical literacy. Dilip Patil keh rahe that it is not alphabetical literacy. It is much more than that. So उन सब चीजों को भी जोड़ करके something can be done, and in smaller places it will work wonder. In urban areas it may not work wonder, but in smaller places it can work. It can bring out something very tangible.
Definitely,
sir.
No,
definitely.
My personal suggestion. Personal suggestion is, Professor Patil, we will take the new education policy, especially our portion, adult and continuing education portion, and prepare a program of action, because policy statement is one. Then the next stage, normally, even for 5-year plan or many things, my association with the National Planning Commission, I'm talking about that. we have to prepare the next document is called Program of Action, both at the national level, at the state level, at the university level, so that we will define our role very well, and that can be submitted to University Grants Commission, UGC, so that the college, university departments, L departments which are available, they will be given certain amount of grants so that they can prepare, and they can prepare a document, POA, at their own local level, at their own university level. That can be the next step you can think of.
Right, sir. Wonderful.
Sir, this is a national seminar on National Education Policy 2020, Adult Education and Lifelong Learning. Our guest speaker, keynote address, Professor Dr. M. Jaykumar sir. I am very thankful to Jaykumar sir. And
thank you.
और दुबे सर ने बोल दिया है कि long back we see the Jaykumar sir only for Dubey sir can one WhatsApp group, and from that WhatsApp group we meet sir. So technology is also a part of meetings. So this is a wonderful session you have delivered. So Dr. Professor M. Jaykumar sir, I am very thankful to you sir.
Thank
from
you.
our
Thank you.
Amravati. Second, our guest speaker, Dr. Dilip Patil sir. He always inspire me about this all activities. We are launching here, sir, our department. There are 8 MA in 4 post-graduation in 4 subjects. And post-graduation department, post-graduation diploma in 4 subjects. And 39 skill-based courses. So we are very rich department in presence of the these types of courses. So I thankful to Dr. Dilip Patil sir, and personally I thankful to Dr. Jay Prakash Dubey sir, former Dean Social Sciences, Delhi University. He can suggest many types of projects we are working there, and to guided by Dr. Dilip Patil sir. We are, I think it is a ink pocket we establish here, and it should be run in future. So I will thankful to Dr. Jay Prakash Dubey sir for encouragement us about this national seminar, and full time they are to be in the screen, and they are present here. And I thankful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Dilip Malkhede sir, who inspire us to take this opportunity of national seminar. And second, our in-charge VC, Dr. Vilas Bhale sir. He is Honorable Vice Chancellor, Punjab Rao Deshmukh Krishi Vidyapit, Akola, but is the acting Vice Chancellor here. That is Sant Gadge Baba, Amravati University, Amravati. And our registrar, Dr. Tushar Deshmukh sir, is also very cooperative person, and anytime he will have to suggest us to take these types of programs, seminars, to encourage the students to do the knowledge to the students for these types of seminars. So I again thankful to all who will be joined here, and सबको मेरा नमस्ते. और इसी तरह हम अपने जो भी प्रोग्राम्स है वो इनवाइट करेंगे, और जरूर आपको आई विल गिव यू वन सजेशन आल्सो सर. इफ you want to any subject or any subject should be discussed in these types of online program. So you may suggest it, and I will do it for the their comparison. So I will thankful to all of you, and my these few words I will have to great health and Sant Gadge Baba comments is that is the thirsty to water and these types of one commandment of Sant Gadge Baba, one command of Sant Gadge Baba. It should be we have to run this in your life. So for this, I conclude here.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Shrikant Patil, sir. Thank you for your imparting knowledge to us. Thank you very, very much, all of you, gentlemen, G.P. Dubey, sir, Dr. Dilip Patil, sir, Dr. Shrikant Patil, sir, and all others. With the permission of Dr. Patil, sir, I am concluding the topic. Concluding today's session.
या ये रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कर दीजिए 2 मिनट और लेंगे हम लोग